Hello, ladies and gentlemen. So I was coming home from an event and I started going online and I started looking at YouTube. You know, they have like a display of people who are doing videos or have done videos. And came across a video of one of the YouTubers, and she said she saw that one of these well-known YouTubers who has like a lot of notoriety, a lot of views. He is pretty well known in the YouTube community. He has like a large following, and his platform is really pro-black, and he's real popular. And so she said that she had found out that his wife is not an African American, or she's not African descent. And so I guess the guy had said that his wife had some Native American, and at first it was stated that she was black, and you never did see the guy's wife. And so she said that she found on someone's page that the guy, in fact, he didn't want anybody to see his wife because she looks more like she's white. And so excuse me for clearing my throat, but anyway, this woman, she's also well known, and I would assume she's in the pro-black community. And there are a couple of YouTubers who are really, really militant. And I mean, everybody has their platform or the things that they're involved in. And I'm not going to say anything, you know, on any one person specifically, but I will say this: there are a lot of people who will make you think that everyone they associate with is, you know, only black, and it isn't. And that's impossible. Why would anyone assume that in this day and age that people are just only going to associate themselves with only one group of people? And so that right there, I think, is impossible, because at some point in your life, you're going to come across people who aren't from the same culture, or they're not from the same background as yourself. If you happen to be black or African American, however you um, say whatever it is that you say of yourself. Um, I wanted to sort of give my response on that, and you see I have scam alert up there because there are scammers on YouTube. There are scammers on YouTube. There's lots of them. There's people who they have a lot of followers. They have a lot of people who believe in them and who religiously send them money and donations, and it's not really YouTube's fault. um, The only time I think YouTube will involve themselves is if a lot of people begin to see that the person is really doing something that really might be threat, really seriously doing some type of, you know, emotional damage, such as I'm trying to think of his name. He built a real big following, and people were believing him. He's still got people that believe him. Um, Alex Jones. And so if it gets to a point where the person is so popular, but it has caused a lot of problems in people's personal lives, where you have people who want to actually sue them, um, you know, when they start sending you court documents, because you're actually doing something, like here we see, live on the news, families, saddened because they've lost loved ones to a tragedy or a mass shooting. And then you have a YouTuber saying, oh, it didn't happen, it's a hoax. That's pretty serious. Around saying that the people who are um, family members and they're mourning their loved ones, you're calling them crisis actors. When you do stuff like that, you have like, a lot of like, videos involving things like that. And then when you have people who are, pretending like they're sick and they're people and say they have some kind of terminal illness and you find out the person is not sick and it was just a hoax or a lie to get people to feel some type of way so that they can send you money. Like I saw there was also a scam where this was a real people. It was a couple, and I think they saw a homeless guy and they wanted to help the guy out. But the money, the GoFundMe page that they made on him, they did raise a lot of money. And it turns out the homeless guy didn't get any of the money. And so I think he went to court and he did end up getting the money. Now that was on the internet news. And so that was a scam. So people have other mediums that they use other than YouTube to run scams. And YouTube has a lot of people who they've exposed. They say, on their platform, they'll say that they're pro this or pro that or whatever. They have a position on some kind of political issue or some type of social issue, and then you find out the very people they claim they dislike are the ones they're married to or they have like a full-on relationship with. And so what I heard the lady saying, she was saying, oh, there's plenty of black men out there and they would really want to be with black women. What she doesn't understand, and I'm going to say this, and I'm not saying this to be mean, is that I've said this in other videos. From what I've seen a lot of those men are doing the interracial dating and more nowadays than before. So I saw a large number of people have been saying this as well, that it almost seems like it's a trend. I said this before. I felt like it was because maybe they seen, like when they see like, how young people are when they see somebody wearing something and it becomes really fashionable, then everybody kind of jumps on the bandwagon and they all try to follow suit. And so I noticed that, when the Kardashians, they started becoming really popular, and most of the guys that they have relationships with are black men. And these are white women or Armenian descent women or Armenian women who they're white. And you see them on the covers of magazines and everywhere. And that's the thing to do now. And a lot of people are doing this. You'll see all these videos with people saying they don't like swirlers and they don't like people of different backgrounds getting together. But it isn't working when you're doing that because people kind of are socially engineered. And if they see something as trendy or fashionable, they kind of run with it. And there are people who were interracially dating long ago, but it wasn't the thing to do, and they were ridiculed or they were put down or they were given the side eye. And you'll still have people that'll do some of that, but now it's such the thing to do that it's becoming common for some. And so I've seen a lot of that happening lately. And it seems like I've seen honestly, I've seen more men that are Black dating women who aren't Black than I've seen Black women dating men who aren't Black. Now I have seen a few women, but very few. I can count on one hand how many Black women I've seen with guys who are not Black. I've seen a lot, however, more. I could see more Black males that are with women who are, you know, are not Black. And so that's when I looked at the Pew's, they have statistics, and it states that mostly, primarily, even in articles, people have done data and stuff like that, and you'll find that more Black men will be more quicker to date outside of their nationality than Black women will. However, you will see Black women dating other males that aren't Black. I'm not saying that doesn't happen, but I seem to see more of the men doing it more often than the females. And females will just stay single for a long time because, they're sort of waiting, I guess. I don't know what it is, or they just maybe, I don't know, if unless they're like me, just don't want a relationship, don't want to be involved. They have other goals and things in mind. But she was sort of promoting this pro-Black position, this lady that I'm talking about. And she was trying to, look at it from a more militant perspective that, oh yeah, there's plenty of Black guys and they would really want to be with Black women and all this. And the thing that I think is not really being, said is that everybody doesn't think the same, and they don't have the same likes as everyone, or they don't have the same mindset. And, probably because, this is a different time. And, if people are not on the same wavelength, if somebody is about, hanging out in the street and they don't have their act together, then, she's probably not going to be attracted to someone like that. And so what what I've noticed too is when there are decent guys, they tend to, like, when they come into money or they have a lot of education, they tend to think that it's better to be with someone who isn't Black. And they have their own reasons for it. And some of it is negative, and then some of it is maybe they're in an area where that's what they see. Some people grow up in neighborhoods or in places where maybe all the people they're around is white people, and so they end up marrying somebody white. Go figure, you know. And then there are people who do it because they don't feel comfortable with themselves, so they think they got a trophy. They want to try to look like the basketball player people. And they try to say, well, I got this money, this education. I want to have a woman that looks the part. And so it's more like a sort of like a show rather than love. And so it's different reasons, I guess. But there are a lot of scammers on YouTube. That's why I have a scam alert. There are a lot of fakers. There's these people who claim that they're pro this and pro that, and turns up this is what gets me. You'll find people on these sites, they'll say, oh, they're pro-Black, everything is Black this and Black that, and the person that they've been dating all their life turns up to not be Black. And so I kind of think when people do stuff like that, they're not really sincere, and that probably they're not sincere about what it's more like a scam for money. And so they know they're building a following and an audience. And so they try to get everybody revved up online to believe that they have a specific position, and they really, their position is your wallet. Is basically what it is. And so they know the right things to say. They know the right tone of language to use to get you to reel you in. They keep in time and step with current events, and they know how to get you all fired up. And they're pretty well recited on their topics, and they build this huge following so that they can get as many likes as their videos to go viral, so that they can make a lot of money. And apparently people make I would assume that some people make pretty good money on here, because I've seen some YouTubers who make some really good money, I guess, because they get really fired up, and some of them even want to act like they want to physically do something to somebody. Their messages are really like, really, really strong when they're angered about somebody, or they feel threatened that their channel is going to be, shut down because, they're being sued, or they're being pursued by another YouTuber or something. So they become very, very, very violent in their words. And so there are a lot of scammers on here. So you just got to be careful. I've been saying this, I don't know how long now. I actually felt bad because, well, not bad for me, but bad for others, because I feel like some people are really gullible, and they're easy to believe in some of these people. And they don't really realize that these people are not really who they claim to be. They're not the person you think they are, they're not. And they're just scamming you, and they're just saying all this stuff so that you can send them donation. And then you find out they have, they claim they're pro black or whatever, and then you find out their wife is white. Their kids are half white, stuff like, you never see their family. They hide their family. And so I'm not trying to name any names. Some people probably already know, but there are some people on YouTube that they have like so many people following them, and their videos are so popular and they're so huge on YouTube that I believe even YouTube will try to support them as much as they can. And I didn't know that they did that, but I believe they do, because it does say there's a feature in YouTube. If you get like, I think 4,000 subscribers, I think you got to get 4,000 subscribers. You got to get so many subscribers. And if you hit a certain mark of subscribers, or if you hit in a certain hours of viewing time, I don't know if it's one or the other or both, then you start to be eligible for like monetary compensation. And like, depending on the topics, if they're really hot topics or big topics, then you can get paid, I guess, substantially well, especially if you have more than the number of subscribers that they tell you, that mark that you have to have in order to get paid. So some of these people are religiously doing these videos, not because it's the thing to do, or if it's a pastime or a blog. They are doing these videos because this is part of their income. And so now, not everybody is a scammer. Some people really are doing blogs. This is something, a pastime they do. They're not really trying to play a game or anything. Maybe they do have some political views, or they are venting. They do want to find a way to talk to people. So I'm not saying that all of YouTube is, just congested with scammers, but I would say there's a certain number of folks who are. And now, now I'm just playing devil's advocate. Now, maybe people do relatively want to help. There's some people that might want to help, and they may happen to be in an interracial relationship. They may have a specific position or a goal that they're trying to achieve. They may, they have to upfront be honest about whom they're involved with. Because if you're going to say that you're pro this and pro that, you better state your position of who you are. Say I'm married to so and so, and I'm married to so and so. This is my lovely family. And then if people don't accept you for who you are, then forget them. You'll have others that will. But if you make yourself seem to be like you're only inclusive of only one group of people, and you don't socialize outside the box, then that kind of is self-defeating, or it makes people kind of not trust you because you gave them the impression that you were one way and you turn up to be something else. And so I think that's probably more the issue with the individuals that found this information out. I was looking and I was like, I actually wasn't that shocked, because there are other people on here that they claim they've exposed them and all this kind of stuff. But really, are we really exposing people? Are they exposing people, or are they just, I mean, how much of a person's personal life do you have to know about in order to accept the messages that they send across? If you really receive the messages and you like what content they have, shouldn't that only be what matters? But if you're really militant, what is it that is a like or a dislike? And it almost sounds as though that some people are a part of religions that are really extremely militant. The one that I know best is, when people are, a part of the Nation of Islam, and they can sometimes be very militant, like pro-black. There's some others too that I wasn't even aware of, but there's some others that are really pro-black. But when you find out some of the issues that they have within these groups, sometimes that could be a bit much of how they view relationships, or how they view women. If women have any rights at all, probably not very many. There are certain positions, that people are unaware of when they're in those groups, that, some people are really hardcore, if you're into that, you're into that. If you're not into that, then you might want to research these groups first before you get involved, because there may be certain criteriums or requirements that they would feel that you have to meet before being inclusive of them being inclusive of you. That I think is an issue. The other thing is people are not honest. They don't say who they really are. And so they try to put up a front, they put on a mask on these. It's easy when you're online. Nobody has to know who you really are necessarily, unless they just know of you or whatever. But nobody has to really know your personal life, unless you want them to know it. You feel compelled to tell them certain things. Maybe it's therapy, I don't know. Maybe you feel you're going to meet somebody who has similar views. But I'm not shocked when I see somebody who claims that they're pro this and pro that, and they turn out to not be what they don't practice what they preach, so to speak, or to the eyes of the following that they have, rather. And so I don't know what people are looking for. I guess sometimes people are looking for leaders um, when they hear messages, because there is a lot going on. Honestly, there's a lot of stuff going on with, protests, with politics, Black Lives Matter issues, issues of racial, social issues that are going on. And so some people are looking for people who are going to, speak on issues and not be afraid. And but if you claim you're going to be one way and then you turn out to be something else, it may make people feel like they can't trust you. And so you have to be clear on who you are, what your position is. And so I guess people have to be careful, because, see, some of these people, too, the other thing I think that upsets people is when people actually believe in these people and they send money to them. And then that makes them feel like they've been betrayed. And when you've been talking all this time about how, you know, example, the white man did this and the white man did that, and and the language that people speak in their videos, oh, the white people, or the white people did this and the white people did that, and then that person turns out to be, associated in their everyday personal intimate life with the very people that you would think, well, isn't this the people you say that are the bad ones? And you are with one every day. You sleep with one, so it's like, what gives? So anyway, I don't know. I'm not going to say any names, but it's out there. I mean, I don't know why people do stuff like that. I really don't know why. I just think this YouTube is big. It helps people to get money, and people are going to do it if they're going to build a following, if they're good, if they can make a platform, they could have, you know, all kind of, contrary messages that they convey on YouTube, and make a lot of money off of deceiving people, basically. And so I try to stick to articles or political issues or stuff that sometimes I'm really not feeling great about or whatever, but I never try to pretend to be something that I'm not. That's why I don't like showing myself. Some people do show themselves because this is their job. This is what they do, or they're good at it, or they're professional or whatever. Um and they're popular. I'm not popular, I don't think. At least I'm not trying to be. No, I'm not trying to be popular. I'm not trying to make a bunch of money on YouTube. I mean, if it was to happen, it wouldn't be like I would turn it down either. But I'm just saying, I don't know. I just try to be really, how would you say, humble? Humble is the word. Humble, mild-mannered. I feel like people get so scammed on some of these sites. And the biggest people to get scammed, maybe I'm wrong for saying this. Maybe there are other groups too that get scammed in other ways, but it feels like the Black community is easy to be gullible when it comes to messages about Black issues, in terms of pro-Blackness stuff. And I believe that's how Jim Jones, if anybody knows the Jim Jones, the preacher, he was able to talk to a lot of people and convince a lot of people, and a lot of them were Black. And he was able to use his message through religion and the Bible to persuade people to follow him. And that's how all those people, more than 900 people, drank cyanide, and some of them didn't willingly want to do it. They, tried to escape and everything. A lot of people died because of that one person and how good he was at orating messages. And he was charismatic, and he had a lot of fiery messages, and Black people like hearing that stuff, because we've gone through a lot of you know, racial issues, oppression and stuff. So when you hear people that sound like they're in your corner and they want to protect your culture or protect who you are as a person, or if you hear people that are talking to people who don't have a lot of voice, don't have a lot of recognition in society, or they're treated like other or less than, they hear these people, they want somebody that's going to help them out of their misery. And so unfortunately these people will take advantage of that, and they take your money, or worse, you know, it leads you to somewhere where you, a point of no return. And so I'm going to let this video go, but I don't know. I could just say this. I don't know, you know, all I know is that I don't know what messages. I can't really say for sure what all is going on. All I know is that there's some videos that are floating around now about this one YouTuber and how he has this big following, and YouTube might be protecting his you know, platform. But there's another video or a person that has something that they found on him, and I believe it may possibly be truth in it. And they actually found it through someone else who had the video floating around. And so I said to myself, I said, I'm not shocked at all. They were shocked because they were believing, they were following a lot of, they're not the only one. There are a lot of people that were following this person. And you know, even now he's really, I think he's trying to do a video. They said he was doing a video to explain himself to those who didn't know who he was involved with or whatever. So I don't know the whole details about it. All I know is that I'm not shocked by things like that. Now, from what I've seen, a lot of those YouTubers, they do have some positive messages. They do have positive messages. I guess it depends on how we see, you know, what are we looking for? You know, are we looking for the person that can deliver the message? Are we really trying to get in the personal lives of individuals and judge them based on that? I don't know. I seen that in another YouTuber where they judged her. This was a female, and they said she was married to a white guy. But this one, she was really pro, like she's really militant, and her messages are fiery, and I kind of can see why some people would wonder, hey, wait a minute, you know. And then I seen some videos floating around about her that she was an escort, and that she actually, her pimp is a white guy, and that both of her Johns are white, and that she's, you know, she gives signs off that she's a high paid escort, and the only men she ever sleeps with are white men. But her messages on YouTube are about pro-black this and pro-black that. And so it's crazy. I wouldn't, if that's true, I wouldn't be shocked by that either. I don't know what to believe. Put it this way, I'm not saying yes for this person and yes for that person, that those things are, but I'm saying if it is true, I wouldn't be shocked, because this is it's a public thing. Anybody can get on here really and make videos. You don't have to know who the person is for sure. You know, they could be white and talking on pro-black issues, and you never know. You never know. And so who knows? And so there's a lot of stuff going on not only YouTube, Instagram, and stuff like that. And so I guess this is not, there are a lot of scams. Just put there are a lot of scams online. YouTube is a haven. Instagram's a haven. Facebook is a haven. All of those sites are a haven for scam artists to get on there and make a killing off of people who are unsuspecting or naive. And so I'm not going to say anything about bad about the woman who found this out. I guess she was looking for a specific um, personality or trait in this character, and the person, honestly, on her behalf, they did kind of give off that. You would assume that's who they were. They're pro-black. They're militant black. They're only going to be with a black woman. That's the messages that you heard. But then to see them hugged up with people that don't look like what they've been preaching, it kind of feels deceiving, So that's probably where she's getting at, and which I can understand. Come on, be real, people. Don't do people like that, because this is where I get where sometimes your own black people can hurt other blacks people by not being honest. The trust issues are kind of like, in the pooper. It's like you don't really feel like you can trust people because there's so many people trying to run scams. But anyway, I don't know what's going to transpire after this day. If they're going to find out what in fact really is going on with all of this. If it is true, if it is false information, if there's like some misinterpretation of something. I know, like the one person I was telling you about that was a female, she's supposed to be really militant and whatnot. She was claiming that her sister was married to someone white. I believe that's what I remember her call her saying. She was trying to explain her position in that. But you did see her in photos where I don't know how these people got those photos. They had a photo of her hugged up with the very people she makes mention of white people in a derogatory term. But the people she was hugged up with were those people she talks about on her YouTube thing. I'll be honest with you. I've had issues with everybody, from different walks of life. It isn't just one group of people. I'm not saying that everybody I come in contact with I have an issue with. No, that's not what I'm saying. What I'm saying is I'm trying to relate it as, just because a person is black like me doesn't mean, oh, we're all friends. We might have disagreements or differences of opinions. That doesn't mean everybody that looks like me or phenotypically looks like me, I'm going to trust. I've had issues with not just white people, and it's not all white people either. I've had issues with blacks. I've had actually more issues with people of color because of some of the deceitfulness or the, not being able to trust some people because they make up stories that aren't really true. And I've had issues with people who aren't black too. So I think it just depends on the individual more than the race, Now, some people will say, no, that's not true. Now, I will say this. In terms of racial issues, there is racial divides. And I do believe that there has been some racial disharmony, and there has been that history and that nasty legacy of racism. I'm not discounting that at all. And there have been people today even who have perpetuated it and carried it on even to this generation, and it's still persistent. And so I'm not discounting that either. I can tell you this, after looking at Charlottesville, I don't have a lot of trust in some white people who say, oh, I have black friends. Because now I feel like I got to watch out for, okay, is this somebody that is extremely militant against blacks? So I don't know. Are they just putting on a game face and then they get around their other white peers and they trash black people? I don't know. Which one are they? Are they liberal and they try to make friends? but on the side, they don't really like us, you know? So even black art. Okay, is this a black person who is just cool and they're okay and they're not running the game? Or is this one of those people who think, oh, I'm better than you because I went to this school or I make this amount of money and I'm not like you know, or whatever. So it's everybody, it's not just one group. So that's where I'm coming from, if you can get what I'm saying. I work around people who are from different backgrounds. I always feel a little bit leery around the ones who say, I have black friends. Because that means if you have to say that to me, that you're not really that cool with me. You don't have a lot of exposure, or you assume things that you don't really have that. You don't have experiences with people like me very much. Anytime you have to say, I have black friends, people who are comfortable with you, they don't have to say all of that. Or I have a black neighbor. I get worried around those kind of people, because that means that there might be some issues with them. There may be some issues. And so I'm not that crazy about those kind of, you know, comments that come out like that are a little scary to me. You know, that means that I might be put on the chopping block, So, who knows, and then I get scared in other ways, there's other things, other issues, so it's like, I don't know. I just try to, I guess that maybe that's why I could say I'm a little bit recluse, but I have my reasons. But the thing is that there's a lot of scams on not only YouTube, Instagram, all these sites have scam artists. There's scammers everywhere. So you cannot think that, oh, these people, I trust them. I'm going to send them money and donate money to their cause. You don't know who these people are. I've been saying that. You don't know. Maybe they just talk. They say the things you like to hear, and you like them to keep saying these messages, then that's what you're going to get. And that's about all it's going to do. It's just talking, and that's it. The other thing I've noticed, I will add this in there before I go, is that person that they're talking about, he goes on trips. He goes on, when you see them and they're taking pictures and they're going on all those elaborate trips, you pay for that. you helped him pay for those nice trips to Africa and those nice trips. He's not the only one. There's others that I've seen that take photos. You see them, they're in Europe, they're in Egypt, they're in all these places because they're making a heck of a lot of money on YouTube. And you're paying for all of their trips. You're paying for that. And they're saying, oh, I'm going to fight for you and I'm going to do. You're helping their income increase is what you're doing. And I mean, if you like them, if you generally like the person, if you feel like they're giving you a lot of good messages and information that's relatively useful, then maybe you don't feel like you're being taken advantage of. But if you were expecting something different and you feel deceived because the message conveyed to you was that this person only socialized with a particular group of individuals, when they in fact socialize with what some people would see as the enemy, then maybe you would feel more personal about it and be feeling angered or betrayed, And some people are very good at deceiving, others. And so anyway, I'm going to let this video go. We'll see what happens with all of this. I just recently, there was this whole thing with Tasha K's channel where they were saying her channel was shut down over the Cardi B stuff. I said I was going to talk about it, but Cardi B's back in the news again. Supposedly she said something about some lady's baby that came up. And so you know, there were people that were mad at Tasha K, and they were sending hate messages. They wanted to fight her. She said she was going to take care of business with people if they came at her. Then there was this whole issue about they sent a cease and desist. Then it turned out it was fake. And then he said, no, it was real. And then there were people saying they didn't like Tasha K. Then they had a group of Eli henchmen. They had a group saying they were friends with Tasha, and then they had another group saying they hated Tasha K. Then there was one lady did a video said Tasha K drank too much. And it was so much shit going on. Then there was another video about Cardi again, and the Star Marie lady came on. She did a video, and it was so much stuff. And I was like, I was waiting because I was like, ooh, somebody's gonna get another fight. They thought Fashion Week was something with Nicki Minaj. Wait till they see this. So it was crazy. It was, they were having a YouTube war. Seriously, YouTube war. I don't think it's still over with yet, because now there's something new about Cardi B. And then what got that whole thing started is that people don't like the fact that Cardi is supposed to be, quote unquote, the like black, representing black women. And some people didn't like that. And, you know, there's some people who are Cardi B fans, and they were going against the ones who don't like Cardi and threatening one another. Then there was a bunch of henchmen. They said Cardi sent her team over just to threaten Tasha K and all this kind of stuff. It was crazy. And there was this lady, she did several videos threatening to do X, Y, and Z to whomever. And I was like, oh man, I said, you know, I'm going to get off here because it looked like a fight was brewing. And still, you know, one lady, she said, oh, I live in the same city. If she's coming to do something to me, I live in the same city. It was like a warning, you know. So it got crazy. But I bet, you know, from them doing that, that lady got a lot of views, and the Tasha K lady, she's back up. I saw her videos. She's still back up. They were talking about her channel was going to be shut down. She was off for a minute, and I believe it was because of all the craziness. And I don't know, maybe she did get in trouble or something. I don't know, but it didn't stop her because she went right back on. She's back on again, doing videos again. So I don't know what they did, but it didn't get rid of her, because it started with the R. Kelly stuff. And actually, no, I think it was Charlemagne. He did send something to her. I think a legal team, they sent something to her. So there's a lot of stuff. There's hate people on here that don't like other YouTubers. They want to threaten them and do all this crazy stuff. And I'm just sitting back looking like, wow, it's really going to go down like that? And now I did see something where this one YouTuber guy, he was bad. He actually went to he went to somebody's house and threatened them. It was that serious. And I'm like, wow, this is crazy, all behind YouTube. So it can get that crazy. That's why you have to be careful. And I think the person put where they live, they pretty much threaten one another, and they called out where they live and all this, and they must have lived really close. And they said actually were shooting at one another, and it was crazy. This all started from YouTube, and I'm like, this is crazy. And so it could happen. It could happen. You seen what happened with that lady who went to the YouTube place or the Google place, and because her channel was shut down, she waited in the parking lot and she shot some people in there because she was getting money from her channels. And when they shut her channels down, she didn't get paid anymore. And she got mad because they stopped giving her money from YouTube. And so she went in there and did something for real about it. And so I didn't think people were that crazy, like really but it could get that serious. That's why I said YouTube must be breaking bread with these people. They must be paying them bank to do this. You know, I'm like, maybe I don't, maybe I need to quit my job. No, I was kidding. No, I'm not quitting my job. But it's like they must be getting bank from these views. Because anytime somebody's going to be that mad to go and get a gun to go do something because they shut down a channel, because I don't get, I get zero. So I don't know. I'm not doing it. Even if I did get money, I'm not going to go to prison for YouTube. That's crazy over what somebody he said, she said. But there's some people, and you say the wrong thing, they're ready to act you. It's crazy. I didn't know people are that, hot temper like that, I mean, I don't like some things people say, but I'm never to the point to where I want to actually put myself out on channel 7 news to prove my point, like that, oh, he didn't, they shut down my channel, I'm going over there. And I think some people like this kind of energy. They get a rise out of getting people fired up. And so it's entertainment. But that, I could tell you this much, that Cardi B fight was entertaining. Not the Nicki Minaj. They think the Nicki Minaj thing, they should have came over to YouTube and saw how the YouTubers were fighting over them too. The YouTubers were getting into it over her Cardi B fans against the non-Cardi B fans. It was crazy. I'm like, oh my God, I just gave my blatant opinion about it. I said, yeah, I've listened to her music, she's cool, but, as her as a person, I don't know her like that. So maybe she, has some issues, of course. But I do believe that at some point she knew that lady. For her, that lady to come on there and say all that stuff, she knew her. They just don't like each other. And whatever happened, it happened in their past and they weren't done with it yet. That's the way I'd said it, but it was so much drama. And now there's YouTuber drama over this one guy who's so super popular right now. He has a gang of followers. He has his own station and everything. And this woman found out by another person that he was doing all this pro-black. And she's found out that he's married to somebody that isn't black. Oh my God, I got to see how this turns out. This is crazy. So anyway, with that being said, you just look on YouTube. You'll find it. It's going to come up, and his show is popular. It's popular, and a lot of black people like to look at his show because he's always talking about issues in the black community and all this. So we'll see what happens with that. Anyway, with that being said, I can't wait. I can't wait. Thanks for listening.